an equal opportunity offender. If you haven't been abused, stick around for 5 minutes. Bill Handel this morning at 5 on KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk radio.
9:55 here at KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk radio. Welcome back. It is Mr. KFI with you till midnight here on the show that has no guest topics or screeners. It is the modern day campfire. And it is interactive and multimedia. And we'll get back to the phone lines now on Back to Basics Radio. And we'll start here with local and hostile line 5. Welcome to KFI.
Hi there.
Hi there.
Yeah. This is Bob Kerr.
Hey.
Yeah, I shot the videotape, or one of the angles that you've been talking about the last few nights.
Right.
And I went through, right after we shot it, I was kind of puzzled on exactly what I saw. And over the course of several days, I've had an opportunity to go through the videotape frame by frame, even pull videographs. The first, forgetting about the first suspect, but the second suspect, the female that was pulled by her hair down to the ground and then grabbed by the second deputy.
I have a couple questions here for you. And I want to just sort of, first of all, you were mentioned in the Howard Rosenberg article, and of course...
I didn't read it. I'd like to. I'm trying to find the Times now.
Okay. Page F10, by the way, in today's LA Times in the calendar section.
Okay.
And I'll even read to you what it says here because I think it's quite befitting. Let's see. Striking example of just as Bob Tour in a hovering KCOP TV Channel 13 copter likely saved the life of trucker Reginald Denny by reporting his plight during the Los Angeles riots that followed the first King trial, and news choppers galore monitored the now famous pursuit of the then murder suspect O.J. Simpson's white Ford Bronco. Anyway, that's how he mentioned you, but he was a little more complimentary than that. There's some other things here as well, and I know your work, and I think that you tend to be one of the first people on the scenes of all these instances, and you're always up there, and I've garnered an appreciation for what you do. I have a feeling though we disagree on this issue.
Well, a little bit, and I've been listening to the show, and I'm pretty pro-police myself. But I went through the tape, and I really wanted to see what happened on the tape. And I went through it, and the second deputy did indeed shove her head into the hood of the truck. He handcuffed her, and then switching over to the KCAL tape now, he tossed her down on the ground face first, and she landed on the ground, rolled over, and landed atop a third suspect that was handcuffed and was being detained by a California highway patrolman.
All right, a couple questions here.
Yeah.
First, Bob, your wife is the pilot, is that right?
No.
You're pilot, and you're...
No, I was
I'm
pilot.
lost.
I'm the pilot again.
Okay.
If I want to fly, but I was operating the camera and reporting that day.
Okay, very good. And you were approximately how many feet away are you in these when you're making these camera shots?
If you calculate altitude and also the lateral distance, about 1,000 feet.
About 1,000 feet. Okay, I've been saying 1,500 feet.
Oh, you're close enough.
Okay, and is it possible? I mean, you do get kind of a skewed version of what's happening on the ground, and there's a lot of things that you don't know. For instance, you don't know what's being said. You can't see. Maybe you get a better view than what the audience gets on a television screen. But you can't see, for example, hand movements from 1,000 feet away.
Well, there's a couple things. I don't have the stereoscopic vision like looking through, you don't have it. I can still see out the scene down below, but with the video camera, which is pretty much two-dimensional, you can't hear, obviously, what's being said.
Right.
But you do have an advantage with the videotape that you don't have actually being there, and that is you can take a look. We run tape at 24 frames a second,
right.
So we can actually, and this is high-resolution video. We're shooting at about 800 lines, recording 580 lines. So we see stuff that you're not going to see at your, 200-line monitor.
Okay, so when you're back at the station looking through a studio monitor, what are you seeing that I haven't seen?
Well, I have an option that you may not have. I'm seeing more resolution. The other thing that I'm seeing, I can play in slow motion, and you may not have that. But going through the tape, and going frame by frame, and then also slowing it down, you can see that at one point, and this is what really put me over the edge with these officers, is that he moves this is the first deputy now. He moves the suspect to the ground. He then gets the suspect's hands behind his back. He pats him 4 times, like kind of like a hold still motion, and at that point takes the power blows with a baton. The suspect offered no resistance.
Well, now again, here's where I'm a little confused, because I know Channel 9's view was one of you, either Channel 9 or Channel 13, is on the opposite side of the car, of the truck.
9 on one side.
Right.
KCBS that I work for on the other side.
Right.
And there was Channel 7 had a kind of a lateral view.
I don't remember seeing Channel 7 at all.
They kind of were there, but they didn't get much.
All right. So which side are you on? Are you closer to the truck or closer to the
sharper picture?
Okay.
Channel 9's was not very sharp.
Okay, I know which one you are now.
Okay, yeah, we're looking right. We're looking over the freeway, and the truck is in the picture, and behind the truck you can see the weeds. And it's a very clear shot as we move almost directly over the scene, and we're kind of almost hovering as we move closer.
Right.
So, I have a little bit more of I have the option of going through the tape, and it's almost like having that instant replay you see in sports. So I saw that, and look, they gave him a little street justice. Whether it qualifies as an international incident is debatable. What you don't have, and you'll agree with this, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners would, is that we don't have the whole thing in its entirety. We didn't see the camper shell thrown at the officers. We didn't see the bottles being thrown.
Well, at what point did you were there?
All of us got there about the same time.
Which was when?
Just as it entered into the Los Angeles County line and moved down the 605 freeway.
So you probably followed a little more than 20 minutes of it.
Less than that. It was really about, all of us were about 2-3 minutes over the pursuit before they pulled over on the shoulder.
Okay. The one thing that makes me uncomfortable, Bob, and I think you're an excellent pilot, an excellent cameraman, but what disturbs me is, because I remember hearing during the replay, you can hear your voiceover the video, and you're kind of exclaiming, this is inappropriate, they don't need to be doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, in fact, what I was thinking was, really, and I didn't say it on the tape, was, do these son of a guns realize that they're going to go to jail? Because this is an election year. They did deal out a little bit of street justice down there. And I got to tell you something, and look at it this way, and I've turned a lot of people's minds around with this, that these were not really good people running from the police. There's no way. They're running from the police or throwing things at the police. They are bad people. The officers really blew it in the sense that they've now made these people martyrs. They're martyrs now. And they're being released. These people will never be tried. They're not going to ever see a courtroom. Believe me, they're going to make a ton of money on this. And the problem that I have is that the officers, now remember this, the California Highway Patrolmen never laid a hand on anybody. There were 21 other illegal aliens that were racing through the weeds.
They were all apprehended peaceably, yeah.
With nothing more than hand motions.
Right.
Sit down, that kind of motion, palms downward. They were taken into custody without incident. I think what happened was, and maybe we expect too much from our police, they're human beings, but at the end of the pursuit, these guys really lost it and lost their temper. I've covered 135 of these police pursuits, and I mean, our law enforcement's the greatest in the world. These guys are great. I even covered that South Korean that was shot down in Orange County.
Right.
I thought the officers showed amazing restraint before they shot him to death.
Right.
These two officers blew it. These suspects are now martyrs, and it's an international incident, and that's the crime right there.
Bob, I really appreciate you calling in the show. Call anytime.
Thank you. You got my blood pressure up for a minute, and thanks for letting me vent.
You got it.
Bye.
Anytime. Bye-bye. It's 10:03 here at KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. That was Bob Tour, Channel 2's copter pilot and reporter as well, giving us his perspective. He was there on scene, and part of the one of the 2 videotapes that's being used all across the world to talk about this incident that happened here in Los Angeles with fleeing suspects. We got another 2 hours taking your phone calls right here at KFI Los Angeles. More stimulating talk radio.
Sometimes you just have to talk. KFI Los Angeles. More stimulating talk radio.